Hello, this is Ella here. I came up with a challenge. I'm not sure if this has been done before, but it came to me when I was doodling myself as a Steel Ball Run character. No spoilers, don't worry. This challenge that I came up with comes from how in a lot of videos that I watch, it said that Araki usually tends to come up with the stand first and then makes his character after establishing the stand idea. So I put a bunch of bands that I know and don't know into a wheel, and I'll make sure to put the wheel in the description if anyone wants to do this too. I just googled a list of different band names just from everywhere, so there might be a few repeats here and there, and then I spun the wheel 3 times. For these 3 bands or artists that you get, you can decide which one will be the main character, the Jojo, the Jobro, and then the villain. Or you can do a whole team and spin as many as you want, but this is just what I'm doing because that was my idea. The artists that I got were Tame Impala, Kim Petras, and Killswitch Engage. Of the 3, I had listened to Tame Impala before. I've heard of Kim, and I was not familiar at all with Killswitch. But that's the fun of the challenge, is learning about the bands and just having an excuse to listen to songs and stuff. Or maybe you've heard the band before, but maybe you haven't heard of all their songs. So that's what I did first. I listened to a bunch of their songs, starting with Tame Impala, Kim, and then Killswitch. The roles for what I wanted each artist to go to, I wasn't really sure. It wasn't set in stone, but my first thought was Tame Impala being a JoJo, because it was the one that I knew the most of. So I had a lot more to work with. Kim Petra being the Jobro, and then Killswitch Engage being the villain, because the name is kind of scary. I did play around with the idea of Killswitch taking another role, but I ended up switching Tame Impala with Kim Petra, making Tame the Jobro and Kim the Jojo. So, starting with Killswitch Engage, the villain, here is the designs I came up with. So, like I said, Killswitch Engage is not a band I've ever listened to, I've ever heard of, and I would probably never listen to their music, I guess, outside of this. Not to say that they're a bad band or anything, it's just I've been told that most of the music I listen to is very cozy, and whenever I put on music in the car, Robbie literally calls it lullaby music. So I can't say that I ended up adding any of the Killswitch songs to my playlist, but I really did like reading all the lyrics, and the guitar playing was very good. I really liked the guitar. When I looked at all the album covers of the band, I came up with an idea that I really liked and ended up sticking with throughout the rest of the video. So the album, it has glass shattered, and it made me think of, follow me through my thought process. It made me think of a deteriorating doll or toy that has paint chipping off of it. And since all the music was very piercing and stuff, the stand I came up with has basically the ability to stab small pins into a person's joints. It's very faint, and they can maybe only notice it if they're very perceptive, and the longer the pin stays in the part of the person's body, the part of it starts to slowly flake off, and parts of it basically teleport somewhere off and deteriorate. And if the pin is left in for too long, it becomes too late, and even if you end up pulling it out, that part of your joint will be gone, basically. There's probably a stand or a buddy that could probably put the parts back together, but you're kind of screwed if that happens to you, basically. Then after the villain takes all the body parts that they obtained, they basically make a Frankenstein-like monster that they use to fight for them. And I think that that's just another cool added layer, because I think fighting one of the creations would be really hard, because what if some of the parts of that person is a friend or loved one? It could cause a lot of grief, so I thought it'd be kind of interesting. Onto the design itself for the villain, I wanted them to have a nice silhouette. When I had the idea of Tame Impala's stand being a villain, I thought that'd be cool to give them devil horn hairs. So instead I just gave that to Killswitch because they're the bad guy. Since I was going with the whole devil look too, I wanted to give them nice little devil tail belt and a little wing things on the shirt and arm glove. I put little studs throughout the outfit and on him just to give a hint to his stand. I also put 2 on his face. I kind of made them just little circles because it kind of reminded me of motion capture dots in video game stuff. Outfit wise, I kind of like the look of cyberware gloves and stuff like that, and the ones where it's just on one side. I think it's a really nice silhouette. I was going to have the shorts and gloves be connected originally, but I thought it looked better separate. For the color palette, I looked up Disney villains for color inspiration, and I really ended up liking the reds and purples together, so I went throughout that with the design. I also gave him white hair and red lips. And here's the pose inspiration. I thought it was a little silly. As for the stand name, I thought of either sticking with Kill Switch Engage, but another one I thought could work was Holy Diver, because I was like, that name sounded really familiar. And then Robbie reminded me that it's in one of those like Jojo playlists that I listen to that have like the names of the stands where they come from, like all the bands, like the actual bands. And I was like, ooh, that there's kind of like a connection there. So maybe that could be one too. Because Holy Diver is a song by the artist Dio. Pretty crazy. So I feel like both names would be cool. Anyways, I like how this one turned out a lot. For the Kim Petra stand, I decided that it would be the Jojo of the group. It wasn't my first thought, like I said, but when I was thinking of the design ideas, I had a lot of star stuff that I wanted to incorporate, and I just felt like it was more fitting for her to be the main character. I had never listened to Kim Petra's song before until I was listening to Nicole Raffi's podcast, and she mentioned that she was going to a Kim Petra concert. So I was like, oh, I'm curious. I like learning about new artists, so I gave it a listen. And it was just not for me, but I didn't know that she did the song Unholy because the only version I heard that song of was the Tortaglia version. So that was pretty cool. It was pretty crazy. I didn't add any of her songs to my playlist. I did like a few of them, but I just decided not to. My favorite song that she sung, she did like a collab, I guess, with Paris Hilton, and they did Stars Are Blind, and I love that song, so that was fun to listen to again. And I also like the song that ended up inspiring the stand idea I had. For the stand, I wanted to go like the Jojo route and make the villain and main character have like kind of opposing stands. Since Kill Switch is all about taking things apart, I wanted hers to be about like sticking things together. I came up with the idea when listening to the song 1,000 Pieces. So for her stand, it ended up being like her stand's able to disperse like either like a honey or glue-like substance that can harden or kind of like fossilize like an ember, the things that she like wants it to. It could be like anything basically. I guess with the amount that she's able to disperse is like limited, but then she can choose to either liquefy it to release whatever is in the substance or smash it with her stand, which would destroy whatever it is that she captured. I feel like the substance is like really strong, so I can also see her using it as a form of protection on herself, but it's a big risk because it could possibly be destroyed with her inside of it. The stand name that I also ended up with was, I really liked the song title called Problematique. I thought that was kind of cute. And then there's another one called Sweet Spot. So it's either between those. I haven't decided. Outfit wise, I already had a lot of ideas I really wanted to do with her. Firstly, I was giving her a star tank top. Her hair, I wasn't really sure because I kind of wanted to go for like ponytail up, hair up, but I ended up going a more long hair that has like pointed bottom halves of stars. And I gave her like hair clips. A lot of Kim Petra's songs mention a lot of like Gucci, Prada, and all those like fancy brands. So I looked at them. I didn't end up getting super inspired by them, but it was helpful when I was making like a mood board to get like the vibes of the character right. My mind for some reason also kept going to 50s. I know Kim Petra's not 50s, but like I just kept thinking of the 50s when I was like listening to her music. But the whole outfit wasn't really giving any 50s like vibes. So I added on the right side of her skirt a little pattern that wasn't too complicated because I know like you'd have to be like drawing them over and over again, so I wanted it to be like pretty simple, but it was just like a nod to something that I was thinking of. For colors, while I was watching a bunch of like YouTube videos when I was drawing, one of the videos I watched was someone talking about like an interview that Araki did, and he mentioned that one of his favorite colors they really liked was moss green, so I was like, sure, I'll put some moss green in her, maybe, if I could. So that's where I started off with like the greens and like adding greens and like yellows and stuff. Lastly was Tame Impala. I didn't realize that I already had several songs saved on my Spotify for them because I just thought that I had like the one called The Less You Know The Better, but I also have the song Feels Like We Only Go Backwards. They were one of the bands that when I was trying to come up with a stand idea for myself, I had an idea based on like their album cover with like a whole like marble thing, but it's too similar to like another stand, so I'm not doing that. And I wrote a bunch of stuff down while I was listening to them to like get ideas. I had like a lot of ideas for this one, but I ended up going with one while I was listening to the song Let It Happen. And all of the songs kind of follow like this type of like cool like noise things like that's happening in your ears that was just like very nice to listen to and very like cool. So I kind of wanted to go with a sound like stand. I thought of like sound waves. So the stand name is Borderline. That's one of the names of the song, and they are able to control sound waves that they produce themselves, and it can basically be manipulated, such as like maybe being walked on or used as rope or like something, just like it's like a physical sound wave basically, or they can like slash with it if it's like a harsh sound wave or like yelling or something, or like if it's peaceful, each one could do different things depending on the type of sound wave that is being released. I made it so this guy, he tends to like skate around because I feel like that would help with like noise production. he has trouble expressing himself verbally, so I thought that maybe he has like a fear of like letting people down. So yeah, he's a little bit of a scaredy cat, but I think he's probably gonna get more confident as the story progresses if this was like an actual story. Outfit wise, I wanted to give him some sort of like jumper thingy, because that was like the first idea I had, and so I played around with that. It was gonna be like a full body jumper with those pants that like kind of go off and are like longer at the bottom, but I made them like shorts instead because I thought it looked better. A big thing that I wanted to do that I really wanted to get right was I wanted his hair to be like a skateboard shape, and it was really hard to do. I'm overall happy with how it turned out. I gave his hair swirls as like the wheels. His zipper is like skateboard shaped, and I'm not sure what it's called, like this outfit. I'll just show it on the screen, but it has like holes in it, and I thought that that would look really cool. His vibes kind of like remind me of like an Elvis outfit, but that wasn't like my like inspiration behind it, but I just like found like a connection between those, and I was like, oh, they're kind of similar. Same with like the hair too, being all like swoopy. I also put wheels around his like pants part of his outfit, and I was pretty unhappy with how it was at first, but I ended up really liking his design and like all the colors. But yeah, here they all are. I'm sorry that I didn't draw their stands, but maybe I will another time.